But yeah, California. So California, we got actually, it's interesting because there's two bills in California right now. You want to talk about bad bills? Bills that are taking away parents' rights to make the decision for their children. Remember what Joe Biden said in the top of the hour? Well, here we go. New California bill aims to punish parents who refuse to affirm their children's gender. And of course, it's this. I can't say what I want to say about him on YouTube. Scott Wiener is I can't say it because it's that bad. He's authored the worst bills in the country that end up going into law in California. And this is just another example of it. This bill would use Child Protective Services to take away children from parents that don't affirm their kids. This is what we've been saying for so long. And it's finally here. They are now outright admitting that they want to take away children away from their parents for not affirming their gender. It's disgusting and insane. And if you did not see this video, it explains everything. If you don't believe me, they say it outright right here. AB 957 will take away their children, or they'll go to Child Protective Services. But this is such a bad precedent to set. So they only care about parental choice when it comes to making the decisions that they want you to make. So here.
So this particular bill adds the very important factor that affirming a child's gender identity is in their best interest, which is what your question is about. Why does it actually say that in an affirmative way? And it really is because if you have a 7-year-old who's talking about having a potential to say, being able to articulate that they believe that they are not the same gender as they are biologically, then it should be affirmed. And through care, it should be determined. And that's what we did with our own child. And that would give the ability for a parent who wasn't sure to affirm and get their child the care that they need to make that, so they can begin to articulate that determination. But by saying and rejecting it in wholesale, then you're essentially rejecting your child. And that is not in the best interests of a child. We should be affirming our children in every possible way and getting them whatever appropriate care they need, whether it's based on their gender, whether it's based on how their studies are in school. It doesn't matter. Our children should be affirmed. And this is saying that you have to include gender affirmation as a part of that.
Do you affirm your children when they're having an emotional breakdown? Do you affirm your child when they're throwing a tantrum in a store because they want a toy? Do you affirm your child because your 7-year-old says that they are not of the same sex, because they saw something on TV and they said, you know what? That's me. I don't think so. This gives children all the power over their parents. It takes away it takes away parents' rights. It takes away a parent's power to tell their child no. It takes away the parent's responsibility. And all it's going to do, like, this is the overall plan, is to make it so that your kids belong to the state. They want to give your children agency, right? They want to give them power because they want control over your children. They want control over you. They want control over your children. And that's the way that they do it, is give them agency. And I'm not even going to mention, again, I don't think I can actually mention it on YouTube, what's really going on here when you talk about saying that children can consent to things under certain ages. We'll just leave it there. But I'll pop it up on the screen because you said it for me. Thank you, Kelly. That's exactly where I'm going with it. Yeah, I mean, Jen McMahon, you nailed it. Do they affirm their child not eating vegetables even when they're a parent and they know they should? Yeah. What about like healthy eating? If a child's hungry, do you just give them the food that they want, or do you give them the food that they need? Or what? I mean, what if your child is overweight because they eat too much? Do you affirm that body positivity in them? You know, even though you know that it could lead to, you know, high rates of, you know, heart issues later on. No, you teach your kids. You don't just affirm them. Slippery slope going on in California, and I'm not here for it. Hey, Forge, good to see you. But that's not it. That's not the only bill that's going on. The only thing that's happening in California. So now we have. Oh, mess that one up. They are changing the definition of fertility in California. Yes, Robbie, you're absolutely right. So I used to work in the adult industry. We call it that because it didn't involve children. And it seems like nowadays that they want to show children everything. Like I said, I was talking about earlier with the pride parades, with the man dancing naked basically in front of children. And if these were, you know, straight biological women doing this stuff, like if it wasn't at a pride parade, so let's say if you took a child to a male strip club and they were doing the same thing, dressed exactly the same, would that be okay? No, that'd be against the law. So why is it okay to be done in public? Pisses me off. But yeah, so now California is also moving to provide surrogates to gay couples in the name of fertility inequality. So this bill, oh, there we go. Bill 729 redefines infertility. I know I wrote this in here somewhere. Where did I write that? Okay. Basically, it redefines infertility to be a status instead of a medical condition. Changing the definition of the definition of an infertility to a person's inability to reproduce either as an individual or with their partner without medical intervention, which would classify gay men as infertile, which would then allow them to basically require insurance companies to provide in vitro fertilization for them. It would require. Now, the bill does lay this out, and this is really what's interesting about this bill, because it requires employer provided insurance companies to provide this stuff, but it doesn't affect state sponsored. It doesn't sponsor the state sponsored medical insurance. So basically, they're going to raise the rates of all employer provided insurance because they're going to make everybody on these insurance companies pay for that, or on these insurance plans pay for these procedures. So again, like rates are going to go up and all that stuff. And then what's going to happen, it's going to destroy the private sector of insurance. And so I think that this is actually would it be? I mean, I'm going to say it's not a poison pill. That's not what I'm thinking of. It's a it's a bill to get onto a social medical plan. It's basically a way to make insurance premiums so high for the private sector that they have to move into a socialized medical system. But yeah, it's basically commodifying the female body in the name of equity, because then gay men are now being covered for this. And literally the bill's author, Senator Carolyn Menjivar, said the bill will ensure that queer people or queer couples no longer have to pay more out of pocket to start families than non-queer families, she continued. This bill is critical to achieving lived equality for LGBTQ plus people, as well as advancing well-rounded, comprehensive health care for all Californians. Unless you're a poor woman who has to, unless you're a poor woman who has to sell their body to get, basically to be a surrogate, they'll, you sell your body, you'll be now being paid by the government. So instead of pushing, like, I think I would rather see them do something like push for adoption. Like maybe they pay for, maybe that they would help with adoption. Because this is, surrogacy is basically renting a woman's womb for, to have a child that shares the DNA of just one of the males in a relationship. So I've always kind of said I don't think that surrogacy should be illegal, because I think that what consenting adults do is up to them. Like, it's your body, your choice. But at the end of the day, I don't think surrogacy is a good thing. Okay? I don't. So I'm not an advocate for it. In fact, I don't really like it. I've changed my opinion on this quite a bit. I don't like surrogacy. But at the end of the day, it is, your body, your choice. But I think we should demonize it, and we shouldn't be promoting it as something, and we shouldn't be forcing insurance companies to pay for it. We have enough children that need to be adopted. So if you want children, you can go adopt them if you can't have them biologically. I don't know. It just makes it doesn't make sense. And yeah, so you talked about I saw you guys talking about the artificial wombs. I've kind of said that that's kind of what's coming. I knew that's kind of what's coming next anyways. I've talked about this before. I think because when they talk about, trans women wanting womb implants, I've actually said I think that the artificial wombs will come before they even need to do the trans implant. So most people won't be actually carrying children. It's going to be kind of a transhumanist future, and that's what's needed for a transhumanist future. That's what they want. They want they want transhumanism. If you're going to be stuck in a pod, you're not going to really be growing your own children, so they're going to need something like that to keep, the population going.